It's Sunday, April 27th, and in Toronto, can you see from here? No, you can't see from here, but it's the Nintendo Switch 2 experience. So I've had a little bit of time with the Nintendo Switch 2 now, and I want to talk about the problems I've had with it and the things that I liked about it here a little bit. So subscribe if you're new, and let's take a look at some of the footage I made at the Toronto Nintendo Switch 2 experience. From the beginning here, when we entered, you get to see the Switch 2 console in 3 different variations. In handheld mode with the Joy-Con 2s attached, then a docked Switch 2 with the Joy-Con 2s in the Joy-Con 2 charging grip, and lastly a Switch 2 tablet in tabletop mode and loose Joy-Con 2s laying flat and in mouse mode. From here, they corral us into a waiting area until the next area opens up for us to begin playing. And here, we can, for the first time, hold a Switch 2 console that has no power, just to hold it and finger it and play around with it. Feel it for the first time without any judgment from anyone except for the guy you're shaking it in front of. So I messed around with it for a very short period of time, but tested the strength of the magnets in the Switch console. First, you see that the back release button on the Joy-Con 2 controllers just pushes a little pin shaft to push the Joy-Con 2 controllers away from the Switch 2 tablet, from the main body of the console. Then you'll see I can pull the Joy-Con 2 off the Switch tablet completely without pushing that release button. It's really just being held on by magnets. Though they are strong magnets, you can pull the Joy-Con 2 off with a little bit of force. And as you can see, the Joy-Con 2 alone can handle the weight of the tablet and the other controller as I'm hanging it from the Joy-Con 2 on one side. Then from there, we were herded like sheep into the next room while being cheered on before our slaughter.
Nintendo. Can we do that?
Yes.
Can we do that?
Yes.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Nintendo!
Oh, that's a good sound. Is that a yes? All right, number 1. Come on in.
Wow. Woo. Thank you. Hi. Now, we got to experience the Switch 2 experience for real here. We were able to play a round of Mario Kart World in handheld for the first time, and then docked using the Joy-Con 2 charging grip. The Joy-Con 2 charging grip is one of the 2 ways that we could have access to the 2 new remappable, programmable back buttons, but this wasn't available to us in this event. And look at this, I got second place in Mario Kart World. Yeah! Then we got to use the Switch 2 Pro controller. If you know me, you know that I like accessories, video game accessories, controllers especially. Honestly, I didn't think much of it. I know other people spoke about it and said they were saying their experiences, the sticks are so much quieter compared to the Switch 1 Pro controller that maybe makes a lot of clicking noises going from side to side. But honestly, that experience was so loud, I didn't notice. I didn't notice it at all. Now, the extra remappable programmable buttons on the back of the Switch 2 Pro controller were not accessible to us again here. So we didn't even get to try the real big improvement. This controller was comfortable, but very much just more of the same if you had experience with the first generation Switch Pro controller. So I'd say I can't wait to get mine and really test it out. The main differences I see so far, other than the two-tone color scheme and the back buttons, is the new C button for game chat, which we also couldn't use at this event. Mario Kart World ran really well, both handheld and docked on the TV. And also notably, their TVs are like really, really beautiful OLED screens with probably HDR, 120 hertz refresh rate. I know that technical stuff I don't really understand. But the Switch 2 really used it all with their first Mario title that we got to see of the generation. It was buttery smooth in probably 120 hertz. Great colors, no hiccups, no lag, no frame drops, nothing like that. I would suspect that since this is a demo event, these game builds are specifically made for these demo events and are specifically made to be tweaked to be the perfect experience that Nintendo wants us to have, to experience. But I would say also that the hardware is much further ahead than the Switch 1 was. And since this Mario Kart World game was actually in development for the Switch 1, which we've learned recently, it isn't really hard to believe that the new console would be able to play this new title so well. Then we got to use the Switch 2 Pro controller while playing the new Donkey Kong game, which I never remember the name of. And then Donkey Kong mining bananas. I think it's Bonanza. I would say there isn't much very notable about Donkey Kong Bonanza unless you're really into an extremely destroyable environment in games. I would say we didn't really experience much else. Kind of a few type of puzzle experiences in it. I don't know. It was fun for what it was for a very short time, but it's not a game I would be buying when it drops in July. And then we got herded into the final room where we had free roam unlocked and got to try all of the games available at the experience. The first thing I did was go straight for the new Nintendo Switch Online GameCube games and controller. Holding the new NSO GameCube controller is very reminiscent of the original in almost every way. This one is wired by Nintendo for this event, so it's almost a one-to-one experience of what you would have had back in the day on the GameCube. So for the NSO GameCube games, I played Soul Calibur 2, F-Zero, and Mario Strikers. These games looked great. With the Nintendo cast members' help, I actually got to change some of the view settings, kind of like putting a CRT filter on, which kind of like curved the edges of the corners of the screen, to make it look like an old CRT tube TV with the round glass and that. And then we explored the menu a little bit more, changing the aspect ratios from 4 to 3 to 16 by 9 to see what it would look like on a real big screen TV. And then we played the games. I played the games, I should say. It was fun playing Mario Strikers. Soul Calibur was fun. I'm not a fighting type game person. Really bad at them. But I mean, it was fun to play as Link for a minute in a different game than a Zelda game, right? Now, this is going to be a lot of fun once it launches June 5th. And once we get more games like Luigi's Mansion, Fire Emblem, the Pokemon Coliseum, Pokemon Gale of Darkness, those types of games. It'll be really fun. Then I went over and I played the tech demo, the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. I call it a tech demo even though they're selling it for $10 US or 15 Canadian. So I went over, I played that, and I notably, from what I played, I think I played maybe 10 minutes of it, which is 2, 3, 4 different experiences, games. Notably found the experience of the new HD Rumble 2, showing off the feel of, so the one that I noticed it the most in was playing I think it's called the Maraca game, where you're holding the two Joy-Con 2s and essentially shaking them to make different sounds, I think, or you're shaking them for a certain amount of time or something. I can't remember now, but you're shaking the maracas and you get to experience how the HD Rumble 2 changes for what you're supposed to be feeling. So first it's maracas that shaking beads, and then it's shaking rubber balls. And the feeling of it going from the beads to the rubber balls, you can actually feel kind of like and I think the sound that they add in there kind of helps with that. But you feel a difference in the HD Rumble 2 between something like a hard bead or a soft ball. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I noticed that a lot there. I think that'll be a great step forward and help with immersion in future games. So yeah. Next from here, I played Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and I tried the mouse mode in the shooter, and let me tell you, I loved this experience. As a primarily console gamer, I never really gaming with a computer mouse except back in the day when we had our home computer back in like 1995, if any of you were alive then. I never really played with any mouse in any games except for something like Age of Empires. Now using the Joy-Con 2 in mouse mode, using it for firing the blaster is really unique, exciting, and very precise. At first I didn't really like the feeling. I didn't like holding the Joy-Con 2 vertically on its like spine in like a mouse mode. I found it's very skinny for my hand, uncomfortable. I didn't know where to put my thumb, my fingers, but in a couple minutes I got comfortable with it. And I also got some help from a Nintendo cast member. It helped me change the sensitivity. So we made it move a little bit faster and respond a little bit better. And once that was done, it was a much better experience to play with mouse mode with Metroid Prime 4. It became so good, so quick and intuitive, and just fun. This, I would say, is kind of revolutionary and something I don't see Nintendo ever not having again in the future. I hope it's not just a gimmick that gets lost in this generation. I hope it really continues moving forward, because this is something it's really, really, really moving forward and change for the better. And I know like computer gamers are already on to that, and it's like, well, that's old news, but here on a console, this is it's really cool. And I know also you're gonna say, hey, the Super Nintendo had a mouse too, but yeah, shut up. Then I played some third-party titles like Hogwarts Legacy and Cyberpunk 2077, and I really enjoyed seeing how these very big, very fast-paced games felt on the Switch 2. I would say they looked like PS4 graphics, Xbox One, PlayStation 4 graphics. That's not at all a bad thing. I would say they both ran very smooth and looked great. I would say Cyberpunk had a lot of fast-paced shooting and quite a few enemies on screen, firing and running around, and the console handled it swimmingly. So they both ran very smooth and looked great. I would say Cyberpunk had a lot of fast-paced shooting, a lot of enemies, a lot of running around, and maybe not a lot of enemies on screen so much, but a lot going on the screen. And it handled it really well, really perfectly. So I'd say if you're like a one console person, meaning you're the type of person that's going to sell their current Switch or whatever you have to buy a Switch 2, and you only need one console, this Switch 2, honestly, I don't think you'd be disappointed with that. In terms of third-party games, you're not going to get very many first-party games from like PlayStation, for example, on the Switch 2, but you'll probably get a lot of Xbox ones. And who knows? I mean, PlayStation has been sending some stuff over as well. So if you're a one console person, I don't think you're going to be missing out much with the Nintendo Switch 2. You'd be able to have some great experiences. Games like Split Fiction are here. Lots of games are coming to the Switch 2, of course. And so I think it would be a great experience for you to have this. Like some people like me, who has a PS5 Pro, Xbox Series X, PlayStation 3, the NES, N64. I got lots of things here. The Anbernic emulation handheld. I wouldn't need to buy very many third-party games on the Nintendo Switch 2 when I could get a better experience playing it on my PlayStation 5 Pro, for example. But the advantage, of course, with the Nintendo Switch and the Switch 2 is you're able to travel with it handheld, play it handheld for most games. Or for all games, I should say. It seems like the Switch 2 will be able to handle a lot of third-party games pretty well, and I don't think you'll be missing out compared to being on, like me, saying I'd be experiencing a lot of these things on a PlayStation 5 Pro, but I'd be stuck at, a TV or a computer desk or something. So that's the advantage you have with the Nintendo Switch 2 now. Then I got to try out Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom in their Switch 2 upgraded versions. And honestly, it's been so long since I played Breath of the Wild, I didn't really notice anything special. I'm guessing if I did have them beside each other, if I had the Switch 1 with Breath of the Wild and then I had this Switch 2 with Breath of the Wild and its upgraded version right beside each other, maybe I'd be able to see more differences. But I don't know. I'm sure this was more beautiful, probably performs better, which is probably the best we can hope for, honestly. So now this was now nearing the end of the experience for me. So if we started at 4 in there, this was now nearly 5:45 or 5:50 p.m. And I know the staff members wanted to go home, and they start turning off the screens on the games where attendees weren't playing to shut down early and get out of there. Now I hadn't experienced every single game that they had, so I had seen all of the Kirby screens, which I didn't get to try the new Kirby game, shut off, so I didn't get to play that. And there was another row of, I think it was maybe 6 or more Hades 2 games. So there was 2 regular attendees like me sitting playing, and then there was one Nintendo cast member or staff member standing there playing Hades 2 as well. So I went up to him. Now, actually, maybe I didn't mention, they gave us, I don't know if you can see it here, it's this red and blue lanyard right here. So you can see it says the Nintendo Switch 2 Experience Toronto attendee, and this is the gameplay passport. So for some of the new games that you didn't get to try anywhere else, we got 6 spots that we got to play, and then they would sign saying it was you played this, you've played one of the 6 experiences. And as you can see, one of mine is left empty. So at 5:45, 5:50, I was now looking to finish my gameplay passport and just be done. And at the end of that, you're supposed to get like a prize if you finished. So it's like there's 10 minutes left, and closing up the doors, turning off the screens, and I'm like, oh, I just need one more. So I go to this Nintendo cast member who's playing a game, and I'm just like, hey, hey, I just have one more. I would like to try Hades 2 if possible. And he goes, oh, sorry, we're closing at 6. I don't think he even said sorry, to be honest. And I was like, I was continuing to ask him. I asked him again, like as if this was like my older brother hogging the N64 controller or something. And I was like, wow, I just need one more signature on my passport. I just want to play this for 1 minute and then, be done and finish my passport and be able to go as well. And I don't think he even turned his head and looked at me. I don't think he said anything. I don't think he said sorry, anything. And I was like, there's this guy just, he's just standing there like a dick in a red shirt. And, that upset me. And I was like, then I turned to the people standing at the Kirby station, which all the screens were off, and I was like, hey, is there any other Kirby games? I didn't get to try it. I just need one more signature. And they were like, oh, don't even worry about it. You don't need to get the signatures. Everybody gets the backpack anyways. I was like, oh, well, I guess that's all I wanted, really, was to get the prize, which was the Nintendo Switch 2 Experience backpack, which looks really nice and is really cool. And I got it, so that was nice. But before that, I had my favorite experience at the experience, and that was playing Drag X Drive with the mouse controls. This was the wheelchair basketball game, and it was honestly so much fun, and I wish it lasted longer. You use both Joy-Con 2s in mouse mode, so if you can imagine, what how you would move a wheelchair. You grab, I guess, the wheels or the bar beside the wheels, and you move forward or backward. So you're kind of controlling your wheelchair like that with the Joy-Con 2s. So you're quickly moving it. So you put it, spine down on the desk or whatever it is, and you roll forward or you roll backward to kind of roll in the game forward and backward, or you move one Joy-Con back and one Joy-Con 2 forward, and that turns. And then because it's basketball, when you get the ball, you actually raise the Joy-Con in the air like you're holding a ball in the air to shoot, and you do the same actions to shoot, and you throw the ball in the basket. So fun, such a good experience. I'm definitely buying this game, and it's just so much fun. I'm definitely buying it, and I hope my wife will enjoy playing it with me. And as I'm saying that, I'm realizing I'm gonna need to buy extra Joy-Con 2s. right at launch. Damn it. So all in all, Nintendo Switch 2, it's more and better of the same that if you have a Switch, you're probably used to already. But better. You don't have to press a stupid button at the back to remove the Joy-Con and slide it off and slide it on. Hopefully, who knows right now, as we were told, they're not Hall Effect sticks inside the Joy-Cons and the Pro Controller 2, Switch 2 Pro Controller, but maybe they're TMR sticks or maybe there's something else. Hopefully they're non-drifting sticks, or if you're a repair person like me, hopefully they are. Not? Hopefully they're not. It's a Switch. It's upgraded. It's a little bit better, a little bit faster, a little bit prettier. No, it's not an OLED screen, but it's a great LCD screen. It looks great. They're already in talks or rumors talking about an OLED screen coming. So honestly, it's great. The event was really fun, minus one dick in a red shirt. It was really cool. It seems to be powerful. We don't have, I didn't use a real unit. We used a demo unit, but it seems to handle big experiences like Hogwarts Legacy and Cyberpunk really well. Mario Kart World ran really great. Donkey Kong Bonanza ran really great. I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be more of the same and just better. Bigger, more beautiful, better in general. Honestly, I wanted to get this video out as soon as possible before the Switch 2 was released, and I just wanted to get my thoughts out there, and then in a couple days get the Switch 2 again in my hands and just move forward and have this thing for maybe the next 8 years until the Switch 3 comes out. So yeah, peace.